Hi, Lou here, and I'm going to talk about Britannia and by extension Britannia-like games. In particular, the number of players. It's the nature of the scoring in Britannia that the scores of the individual nations really depend heavily on the scores of the other nations. And the whole strategies depend on where players score and how they score, or where nations score and how they score. So while there was a 5-player version of Britannia originally, it was something that the manufacturer or publisher wanted me to add on, and it was not satisfactory. And I have tried since then to do 5-player versions and discovered, not surprisingly, that if you use the scoring as in classic Britannia, where there are individual scores for individual places, it's just not possible to do a 5-player game that is well balanced. If I wanted to make a 5-player version of Britannia, I would have to do the scoring all over again. And I would probably have to have more nations because 17 nations, one of whom morphs into another, so kind of 16 nations just isn't enough. With 5 players, you'd probably want to have 20 nations. And if I redo the nations, I really need to redo the scoring. So the result of all this is there is no 5-player version of Britannia with the current scoring method. Now, in the 3rd edition of Britannia, which will come out someday if I live long enough, I have devised a method that is much simpler in the scoring, much quicker, but also makes it practical to have 5 players rather than 4 or 3. So I've solved the problem by simplifying and avoiding the obstacle, you could say. But in the big version of that 3rd edition, the scoring will be as it has been traditionally, I suppose you could say, and there will be 4 players. Thanks for listening.